Hi, Stephen here, Fanatic Perspective. Hopefully, everybody can hear and see me clearly. Very excited to talk about the results and just the conclusion of this 2023 spring and all the goodness we saw at DKR yesterday afternoon and um, really the excitement. Spring hope springs eternal, right? And some of the aspects we saw with this football team yesterday. So as you guys are coming into the chat, you know what it is. Show some love. We take attendance very simply by hitting that like button. If you want to participate in the chat or you just want to rock with me and show us some love and help us continue to grow, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. But Fanatic Perspective, y'all, gang, we back in the business. Sorry, it took a day. But as you guys, some of y'all know, we had some family troubles this week, and just it's been challenging, but this is a good, healthy distraction to talk ball with y'all and talk about our big favorite team down in Austin, Texas. So the orange white scrimmage, so many things, so many takeaways from yesterday that are positive, right? I mean, just big picture, that pivot interview that Sark did, the some of the things we saw um, with this staff over the spring, quotes, things we've heard from paid sites, people that are normally pretty uh, tough on the program, if you will. A lot of cautious optimism, a lot of just outright optimism about what they've been seeing behind the scenes. And I think one of the encouraging things is the common names we heard from practice reports, the Savion Reds of the world, the Jonte Cooks of the world, the Anthony Hills of the world, the Alfred Collins of the world, the Byron Murphys of the world. You're hearing all these positive things practice after practice after practice. And to see people come out and perform when there's some lights on and there's cameras and there's fans in the stadium and we're going live, we're on LHN, there's a broadcast team, but to see those people play as advertised, Malik Murphy throw as advertised, as we've been hearing, the light bulb started to come on for Malik Murphy behind the scenes when they got back from spring break. The light bulb had started to come on for a guy like a BJ Allen behind the scenes when they got back from spring break. To hear about, hey, we feel like Quinn Ewers is decision making, the command of the offense. It feels like it's his group. The responsiveness there is encouraging. There's also some notes, right, in terms of how the teams were sorted out. I mean, I know it was orange team versus white team, and there's stuff you can read into there in terms of who are the ones, who are the twos, who are the threes. One thing that I noticed, I don't know if anybody else picked this up. Just I noticed that Neto was out there playing left guard, not Hayden Connor. Hayden Connor was on the orange team, and they had Neto next to Kelvin Banks and Jake Majors, Cam Williams, Christian Jones. Thought that was really interesting. And I actually, on my rewatch, like what I got out of Neto at left guard. And there's no shade against Hayden Connor or anything like that. Of course, we need tons of depth, and there's going to be competition, quite frankly, at both guard spots come fall. When you think about DJ Campbell not playing in this game, Cole Hudson not playing in this game, and a lot of the competition that will obviously be had with Neto and Hayden Connor there at left guard. So very, very interesting. The other thing, kind of picking up on my rewatch, they started the game. So when Quinn Ewers goes out the first team offense, they start the game in 12 personnel, but they quickly moved to 11, and really a lot of their big plays seemed to come out of 11 personnel, whether it was Malik in there running the twos or Quinn in there running with the ones. Most of their chunk plays did seem to come out of 11. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but um, they did hear, or I did see, Jatavian Sanders flexed out a little bit. I know he didn't have a big day or anything like that, but I feel really confident with how he'll be utilized. So we did have that kind of flex 11 aspect where Jordan Whittington was nearest into the slot, flexed out Jatavian Sanders, and then to the wide side of the field, Xavier Worthy, right? So um, I actually think that's really how we're going to play football this year. And I think it's really fascinating how we are going to counter that with running the football to keep honest so that our RPO stuff, our play action stuff can be timely offensively. And that, again, that comes with the overall command and trust with the quarterbacks. And first, another takeaway, the growth of Quinn, the growth of Malik Murphy. We'll get to Arch and we'll talk about his debut and us seeing him there in a Texas uniform. There's a lot of takeaways there as well. But when we look at Quinn and Malik, I tweeted this yesterday. Sark's scheme and the way he coaches his quarterbacks, it's a monster. It is a lot. It is an AP level course for quarterbacks. It is not the most. And I've had challenges at times when he's playing young guys or playing guys that are in year one in his system of, hey, how quarterback friendly is some of this stuff? Like this is advanced stuff you're asking them to do. But I think one thing we haven't been able to benefit from here at Texas is having that consistency year over year with the same guy. I mean, this is now the first time in year 3 where we should have the same starting quarterback from the previous year, right? And when you look at the quarterback room, quarterback 1 and quarterback 2 are in the same system, in the same offense year over year. And I think you saw big strides. We really didn't even get to see Malik last year in the spring because he was injured and recovering from his injury from high school. So now that he's healthy and he's had time to train, it's encouraging to see, with Malik, body looks great as always. And he, Colt McCoy in the interview and him talking about, wow, I'm finally seeing a quarterback that's bigger than Vince Young and the physical, just the dominant aspect that Malik carries. But the cleaned up throwing motion, if you notice in high school when he was playing in California, he had this big elongated throwing motion where it was kind of like, in a circular aspect, and it was kind of coming all the way down the hip and throwing. To see to see what they've been talking about with, hey, we are fixing his throwing motion and really shortening up and getting that efficiency out of there, man. I think you saw that big time yesterday in terms of the quickness of his delivery, the improvement of his delivery, and married with his footwork. Very, very encouraging for Malik. And here's the thing with these quarterbacks, with Malik and Quinn. These are guys with big time arms. Quinn, this is probably the only time in Quinn's life, even when he gets to the NFL, that he's going to be in a quarterback room with somebody that has a bigger arm than him. I mean, that's how serious the arm talent here is at Texas. But when we think about them in the aspect of like a pitcher, you got to have your gas, but you also got to have your off-speed stuff. And it's very, very subtle. But when we have the wheel route, right, wide open wheel route out of the backfield, Malik Murphy doesn't throw a missile at the guy, right? It's a walk it to him, pitch and catch. You see there's times where Quinn Ewers has a crosser coming across or somebody sitting down. I'm throwing with touch to get the ball over the linebacker in front of the safety. There's multiple aspects, multiple pitches, if you will, that you have to have at the quarterback position. We're seeing good training. AJ Milweed, credit. Steve Sarkisian, credit. Brother Jeff, I love you, man. What's good, baby? Thanks for being here in the comments. Hell of a game last night for Golden State. Peter the Great said, don't listen to Briscoe. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the nature of having to change that up, you also saw, hey, there was a route coming across where Malik has to put mustard on it. Now I get to show off my fastball. So there's multiple throws throughout the game. Or Quinn Ewers has to throw it all the way over a safety on that big route to Worthy, right, for the 46-yard pass play, which leads us to another thing. Y'all, Lord knows how much we struggled with deep passing last year. And it wasn't all of the quarterback's fault, whether it was Quinn or Hudson Card last year. We had problem. Look, deep ball accuracy is not just a quarterback stat. In my opinion, it is a receiver stat in terms of how you track the football and what you're doing to fight for the football when it is thrown. It's not going to be perfect every single time, and you need to track the ball properly when it is in the air. But what I will say about this, in terms of deep ball accuracy, you can tell they're working on it, right? For Quinn to hit big, Malik hit big twice. DeAndre Moore, we got to come down with that football. We already know what it is. Bubba, the ball hit you right in the chest. And he hit that boy from about 60, 70 yards away. But these are good signs. And then we come right back to it, and Jonte don't miss, right? And so Jonte gets a 80-yard house call. These are good, encouraging signs, okay? Now, I see a lot of, we'll get into some of the comments here, and I want to live with y'all in the chat because we got to start with the big stuff in the quarterbacks. And look, the criticism with Arch, hang on one second. I need to text my wife something because the dogs, I don't know if somebody's outside. Can you hang on one second, y'all? Okay. Sorry about that. One of the so going back to the quarterback conversation, I want to kind of get there. Arch is running. Arch is a true freshman in his first spring practice, and he's running with threes and scout team guys and walk-ons. Look, I don't know what type of. Here's the thing. You already know how the media is going to be. When New York Post is over here sending out stories and articles about Arch Manning looking overwhelmed and getting outplayed in the spring game, it's like, you guys don't even cover college football. This is not like this is standard practice for unless we were down Quinn and Malik, what the hell were people expecting to see from Arch other than what we saw? Few plays, get out there, let's throw the kitchen sink at him, let him run around, see how he handles pressure. And it's part of his development process. I just said earlier how much of a monster Sark's offense is as well, right? And I want to say this. I would have been concerned if he started blowing up starters. If we're over here, see, the spring game is a two-way street. If he's over here moving the ball all over our guys out there that are first-team defenders, like I saw Gavin Holmes out there. I saw some other guys out there, guys that are going to be running with the ones. Anthony Hill that's running with the ones. If he's blowing up our starters, then we have bigger things to worry about. If our third string quarterback is tearing them up and he's just, he's still getting ingratiated and learning the offense and getting up just in general with the speed of college football, that'd be very concerning, wouldn't it? I'm actually pretty pleased that we saw some big plays and we saw us take advantage when we got those opportunities, but the defense was no slouch yesterday by any means. The defense won several reps yesterday. I thought the defensive line, y'all tell me if I'm tripping. I left yesterday and even on my rewatch feeling as though I am very encouraged with the Byron Murphy, we didn't really get too much of T-Sweat, but that whole group, Alfred Collins in there. Bro, we want to talk about young boys. Did y'all see my young boy, Sadir Mitchell, in there? Big 99, taking over Colburn's number. Had 2 solo tackles. The D-line was looking good. I saw Chris Ross in there playing edge. I saw Ethan Burke get a sack. I mean, I don't want my third string, people out here cooking the first team defense. That would be concerning. Those are the people we're going to send to battle in the Big 12 next year. So we got to keep things in context. Don't listen to there. It sucks for Arch, and I think that comes with being a Manning. He's been prepared for that. And unfortunately, like even when if you notice yesterday, even LHN, when they didn't go mic'd up to Sark when Quinn or Malik was in the game, they went mic'd up to Sark when Arch was in the game, right? So it's all a show and it's around that kid, right? And it sucks because he's not going to get the same experience that most other kids get to kind of come along slowly and develop like they should. It's going to be a circus that's expected. I think Texas this spring has done a fantastic job of bottling as much noise as possible. And I'm really, really proud of this. It shows growth as a program. You didn't hear any craziness out of spring practice. You haven't really seen craziness since he's moved into the dorms and everything since January, right? It's been pretty measured in terms of how they handled it. I have to give the entire program credit as well as Arch knowing all that's on his head. But for us as fans, I know the football team, this was about Malik establishing himself as the true number 2 backup, showing that development, showing the refined throwing motion, and Quinn being freaking consistent and also showing that he's taking care of his body and ready to lead this football team, ready to take ownership and command of this offense and this football team. All right, let me get to the comments. I've been rapping too much. Um, Worthy look good. Rodolfo, Worthy look good. That we got good work. If that's the Worthy we're getting going into next season, and he's serious, he tracked the football well downfield. I thought he caught was able to catch the ball with his hands. I didn't see anything where I'm like, okay, that's the good Worthy. That's the Worthy that we thought, we saw tear the roof off in year one, and at times last year, year two. Year two wasn't bad. He just wasn't as consistent. Y'all were getting cooked in the sun yesterday. It looked like a beautiful day. I know it was beautiful up here in DFW. It sucks I couldn't make it down, but it looked gorgeous. And I want those of you who were there yesterday and got a chance to see them up front, please chime in. I have not addressed the bear situation yet. We'll get there in a sec. I have not addressed the Bear Alexander situation yet. All right, AD Mitchell. So this is a good one because AD looked that brother looked phenomenal in all seriousness. I mean, look at this. Look at the touchdown that he had. I think it was this one, right? Where he's just skying up there. He's just skying up there, dude. That guy was otherworldly yesterday. Give me a second. Yeah. And I saw the guys over at IT saying this in their post game, and I agree with it. I think it was Jerry Hamilton, but seeing somebody go up vertically and help the quarterback out and make a play for the quarterback. We definitely have been missing that. We have people that can do it. We have a tight end that I know can do it, in Jatavian Sanders. We have people on the roster that can do it. There's been times where I've seen Worthy do it. There's times where I've seen, Casey Kane got hurt in the Thursday practice, by the way, with the shoulder. So hopefully he'll be good to go come summer. But he went down really hard on his shoulder, for those that don't know. But we have people that can go and get the football, help the quarterback out, and be that target. But AD Mitchell looks different already, and this is the same level of excitement we saw, I think, with Isaiah Nayor, and it allows us to take our time with Isaiah and working him back to the prospect we know he can be. But the pedigree that AD comes in here, AD's coming in here as a 2-time champion. AD's coming in here with somebody that has performed at the highest level and produced in the playoffs. AD's coming in here, with veteran experience. He's an adult, got a kid, ain't got time for games. This is now, we hear contract season. This is some contract season ish, right? So we yes, we're going to talk about blue. I'm gonna get to the backs in a second. I'm just kind of going down the chat right now. But my quarterback shouldn't have to be perfect damn near every throw, every snap. You see some of these teams. Look at Max Duggan. Max Duggan went to the damn Heisman ceremony with some very crazy ball placement. But they had people like QJ that were out there just going and getting it. It's like, yo, put the ball in my zip code, and as Michael Irvin says, I'll respond to the when it's in my area. It's my job to respond. Put it up there. I'll go get it. And if we have that matching the arm talent when we do have to throw people open and do have to fit it through tight windows, that's the perfect balance we're looking for. AD Mitchell's a stud, though. Brooks didn't play. And we've seen Brooks. I mean, Brooks was one of those guys we left last year, right? Talking so much about. But to get to the running back, since AJ brought up Blue, and I want to get to that. I thought for what they had to work with, and it's going to be again, we're going to looks like we're moving more towards that 11 personnel look, and we're still figuring out nailing down the offensive line. Very encouraged with the running backs. Keep in mind, Keelan Robinson did not play either. So you had no Brooks, no Keelan Robinson, the two most experienced backs you have on the roster since Roshan's gone, Bijan's gone. Jaden Blue flashed why the hype was there coming out of high school, showed the explosiveness that is just raw and special for somebody, with his ability and the plays he can make out in the open field. And I'm really happy for Blue because it sounded like he's been up and down. He's had some growing pains throughout camp. He's had some really, really good practices, and he's had some practices where ball security might be an issue or just that consistency. It's you're coached by somebody like Tashard Choice who's going to be on your ass to produce. And so to see him roll out there and ball with the opportunity he was given, I think he's somebody you leave spring and you're like, okay, I put my best foot forward when the lights were on. Good shit. Savion Red moving into the room. I talked about this earlier. Guys that have shown the ability to transfer. Hey, I had a string of good practices. I've been that man behind the scenes, and to parlay that into this is what you look like in front of people, running against a lot of first team guys, not having the same type of holes and opportunities as some of the others. You saw Baxter more with the first team guys. Really good showing, fighting for yards. Also, Savion and Jaden Blue are probably going to be our kick return guys. So those are guys that are also going to be asked to help us on special teams. Same way Keelan Robinson's been asked to help us on special teams throughout the years. He's one of the best pump block guys returning in the entire country. Those are things you can't really emphasize in spring, but we're going to see that down the road here. So really, really encouraged with the running back room. Cedric Baxter Jr. He did make Malik Muhammad miss on one rep, and he got a touchdown. It wasn't blown away or anything, but he was used on screen passes. He was in there with the ones. I did see him shoulder down, running with power. I think he's a guy that as he continues in the weight, as they continue to transform his body, and the good thing with Cedric Baxter Jr. is he's not going to be asked to be like a bell cow back right off the bat. When he's going to be able to ease his way in, and we're going to be able to kind of have, I think, some fresh legs and kind of go with some hot hands. Now, Sark has been a guy who always has that 1,000-yard back, and he does kind of lean on one guy. So I do think that's going to be an interesting dynamic there as we transition into the season. I'm going to take a quick break before I get to because I see some super chats in here, and I want to make sure I get to all that. Shout out to Last Stand hats. I saw a lot of people rocking Last Stand hats yesterday. I know a lot of people were also rocking Last Stand hats at the festival in Georgetown. And man, tremendous sponsor, tremendous, everything, apparel company, just a part of the Texas community. So check out laststandhats.com. fanatic. Use that promo code Fanatic10, 10% off at checkout on all of your purchases. Those of you who are our top five, as well as our winner in the bracket contest, the March Madness bracket contest. I think we've connected with everybody at this point, so we will have your gear on the way here shortly. But yo, the hats, they follow them on all their social media accounts, by the way. Just search /Dan Hats. You'll find them right away. But they're constantly showing the new products, the new merch dropping. I know a lot of y'all, you know, went out there and got it in at the fire sale. So check in the comments if you got some cool stuff. But shout out to /Dan Hats. Now, let's see here. I want to make sure I'm not missing nobody. Jess, thanks for the super chat. It is. That's what Sark said. That's what Sark said. D-line. Nah, the D-line impressed me. The D-line impressed me. I gave some love to Sadir Mitchell earlier. AJ, thank you for the super chat as well, brother. Really, 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 really appreciate it. Marlon, what are we scared to say? I see you lurking up there in the comment. I love when y'all come in here with the hot takes. They were rotating a lot of guys on different aspects. Like, I think it was Jaron Thompson and somebody else. I think we're like on the orange. I got to pull back the rosters and whatnot. But I noticed like the groups were all with one. So for example, like the first team defensive line all seemed to be one group. Linebackers seemed to be one group. We got some, I saw Jalen Ford make some plays, whatnot. So Marlon thinks we look mid. Can you explain that, sir? Why do you think we look mid, brother? You thought we were looking mid out there? Marlon said we look mid out there. I didn't. I would like an explanation. Paige, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Paige Grigsby. Thank you. I know you're always holding it down on social media, repping the Texas Longhorns. So I appreciate you, Paige. David Williams, always look forward to your comments, and you always. I've learned a lot of ball from you, and your perspectives are always welcomed here. And so I want to address this one. I do think the depth is going to be there at the defensive line, where we will be able to rotate with a purpose. And I do think the depth will be there, even with some of the younger guys, the Aaron Bryants of the world, Sadir Mitchell, who we mentioned earlier, up through Vernon Broughton. Hopefully these guys are all, staying in the program too. And, we can talk about maybe the guys that are going to be portaling a little bit later. A lot of those announcements have happened, but Alfred, somebody who I'm real tight in with, and just seeing his growth on and off the field. I feel confident about Alfred because I know how Alfred ended last year, and I don't think he got enough credit for how he ended last year. But Murphy, we've seen, right, with good consistency. We've seen T'Vondre Sweat be consistent. I mean, that's a lot of people we're talking about. And then we got some of our hybrid guys, our twitchy guys, the Jure Bledsoes that can play multiple positions, the Rosses that can play multiple positions. It looks like Ross was playing mostly edge yesterday. So but to your point, that last sentence, I have doubts until he consistently proves himself. I feel like you can say that about this football team. As much Kool-Aid as I just spent 30 minutes being super positive, I feel like, about the team, right? But and Sandeep mentioned this on Twitter on one of my comments, and it hit me a little bit. And I was talking about the quarterbacks and how impressed I was with their growth and the strides Sark is making. But the greater point is the ultimate test is how do they respond when they get into some shit during the season. That's the test. The test is when we're not playing a game. We're not playing, for whatever reason, we have some challenges, whether somebody got hurt, it's something weird, weather, style threw us off. Maybe we didn't have the correct game plan, but we got to quickly adjust. This happens to every single team in college football. But the teams that consistently win are the ones that are able to adjust on the fly and figure it out and win the game, right? And so I just feel as though, this is my personal opinion, I can't go all in until I see that, because Sark has not shown yet, I'm not saying he's incapable, but he has not shown yet that he can, he hasn't won 10 games yet. He hasn't won championships yet. And so the doubt is always going to kind of be there, that residue, because we've seen Texas lose games where they are physically better than the other team. They are faster. They are bigger, stronger. They do have more depth. They didn't have horrible quarterback play, and they still lose. We've seen Texas lose those games. We've also seen Texas lose those games because of the opposite. But when we get into some of those situations, we're on the road, right? And it's hostile environment, and a team, we feel like we're up on a team and something happens. Yeah, I'm with y'all. There's going to be those doubts there with that consistency game over game with people. We have guys on this team that have shown us that they can be NFL players. And then the next week, it's like, how are you starting? We want to see that consistency week over week across the football team. So until that gets there, there's always going to be that little bit of doubt until Sark does it, until Sark does go 10-2, and it feels like the ingredients are there. That's why I keep saying that, in terms of the culture, the fit, the experience, the depth, the talent, the fact that young guys are coming in here and playing well right away, the fact that Anthony Hill looks like he can contribute right away, Jonte Cook looks like he can contribute right away, Cedric Baxter looks like he can contribute right away. So we're over here supplementing some things we've lost with people that can help us get going. I mean, if you even look at some of the players that hit the portal and the quality of those guys are getting looks from other teams. I mean, even some of the people that hit the portal out of the bowl game, out of last year, guys going to Oregon and all those type of things. But I'm encouraged. But that, David and all you guys out there, that doubt is still there for me. I can't go all in until I see him do it. I think that's more than fair. But we can only go so far in April. All right, we can only go so far in April. There's a lot of moves to be made. Some people were talking about guys like Bear Alexander in the portal, people that were wreaking havoc in the national championship game that were unblockable, guys that are going to be, surefire NFL players that are already hitting the portal right now. Things are going to change, even now, right after spring is over. Want to make sure I didn't miss anybody else's. Okay, Robert. Thank you for the super chat, Robert. Really appreciate it. I don't see us throwing that much. However, I think it's more of what is the opponent? I think we're versatile enough and built well enough, depending upon the opponent, how we want to play. But we are typically pretty balanced. We are going to run the football. And I don't think we should throw the football like this just for the sake of getting people their numbers or getting people their targets. I don't think that's how you should operate. I think you should operate from a standpoint of what wins you the football game. I do think we're built well enough to where we can play 12 and 11 pretty well. I do expect us to play more 11 personnel, which will present us more opportunities to throw the football. Guys in the slot like a Jay Wick, guys like Jatavian Sanders being flexed a little bit. but also opening up the field for Xavier Worthy, Jonte Cook, AD Mitchell, and getting them some big play opportunities. Now, we also shouldn't have to throw the football as much as if we're hitting on our big plays. If we're hitting on our big plays and our chunk plays, the ones that quite frankly, we've just missed the first 2 years under Sark. What would Sark's record be if we had just been average in our deep ball efficiency, executing plays that have been there that he has dialed up in year 1 and year 2, where we've just flat out missed? What would our record be, quite frankly, right? And so if we're hitting on some of those plays, like for example, Malik Murphy only threw 13 passes yesterday. Malik Murphy was 9 of 13, but he had, I think, 165 yards. Quinn Ewers threw the ball 23 times and had 195 yards. You see where I'm going with this? So when you're hitting your chunk passes and you're getting a 70 and 80-yard touchdown, I don't got to throw it 40 times. That's going to be the key. If we out here throwing 45 times a week and it's dink and dunk and we can't run the football, but we're also not hitting deep shots, we're in trouble. Yeah, people going to get their numbers. Cool. The numbers will look good. The wins won't. If we're hitting our chunk shots and we're throwing the ball 30 times a game, 35 maybe on the tight end, but we're running it the same amount, but my receivers have 4 or 5 catches, but they got 80, 90, 100 yards, that's different to me. Yeah, we're going to have some games where somebody's going to need to have 10 catches for $120 and we'll have to grind it out. But let's save it for those moments. I don't think that should be the standard per se. That's just my opinion. Thank you for the super chat. Also want to give a quick shout out to our new sponsor, Aura. Aura.com/fanatic. Aura.com/fanatic. They are an all-in-one digital security services company. All of your needs, VPN, fraud protection, credit monitoring, anything you need across the board to protect and secure your devices, identity protection. I cannot stress this enough. And by the way, just hitting the trial and whatnot supports this channel and what we're doing here at Fanatic. So the code here is just to check it out and do your homework. And if you want to get started with aura.com/fanatic, use that 14-day free trial. It does support this channel, but with our sponsors and whatnot, these guys are actually the official sponsor of the Minnesota Timberwolves. So if you watch NBA basketball and you see the Minnesota Timberwolves, they got Aura on their jersey, they got Aura on the floor, Robert Downey Jr. on board. These guys are probably the best, baddest all-in-one company from a digital security services platform in the industry right now. And cybersecurity is a beast, right? We are making strides in AI. We are making strides in machine learning. We are making strides in just across the board in automation. Well, security has to come along as well. So check out Aura. Check out that 14-day free trial. If you decide, hey, I want to stay on point and stay stay on brand with that after the 14 days, you're looking at packages that are like $10 a month to support yourself, and make sure you have that coverage there, as well as insurance if anything were to happen. So I'm going to leave that QR code up there. Check that out if you want to, aura.com/fanatic. Now, let's get back to some of the comments. Let's talk about Anthony Hill, because I was a guy, I knew Harold Perkins was going to be a badass last year. I just didn't know who he was going to play for. He ended up playing for LSU, and damn it, he looked phenomenal. I'm not saying that Anthony Hill is directly Harold Perkins, but these are the type of prospects, the hybrid positions, and it's the same conversation we're having at the NFL level with how Micah Parsons is being used. It's the same, those hybrid linebackers that can play football at multiple levels. And so with Anthony Hill, damn it, if we're just using him like he was used at Denton Ryan, see ball, hit ball, be that missile, and use your bend and use your athleticism to just freak out tackles and get underneath them and get to the quarterback, you're going to play. Because there's not a whole bunch of people in this country at his size with his burst and his first step that can do that. Now, listen, he's going to develop. They got to coach him up, all that. But I know the brother missed the tackle on Savion Red on that 4th and 1. I think it was a 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, whatever. It was a short yardage scenario. But the fact that he got through the gap as quickly as he did to force the cutback and force the redirect, that's how you make those are the things you need to have if you want to take your defense to the next level. Let me put it that way. And Anthony Hill gives me that. And it's not hard to find him rocking zero, right? And I saw David Benda, the brother David Benda, has taken on the arm bandit legacy because he was out there rocking all of the armbands yesterday. But just the pursuit to the football. What is it that Sark says that some of y'all don't like populating the ball or I know y'all don't like that term, but Sark says it populating the football. Anthony Hill gives me that, right? And he is going to be very, very important. I feel like in third down situations where it's like I need some extra heat. He's going to be our heater guy. I need to figure out something. I'm not going to ask him to win technically against a better tackle right now. No, that's not realistic in my opinion. That's for the Baron Sorrells, the Ethan Burks, right? The Justice Finkleys to be able to, whether it's pad level technique, what have you, be able to win, when we're not sending heaters. But if we're just talking about, hey, it's third and whatever, and I know I need to make them get the ball out quick, Anthony Hill needs to be deployed at all times, in my opinion. The first step is to, and that's what LSU did with Harold Perkins last year, by the way. They kind of kept it simple and just let the brother just fly after people. You don't really need to coach that stuff too much. You already know what they can do. Even at the college level, these tackles, it's really, really hard for them to reset their feet against people that are coming that quickly. Danny said, "How about populate more talent of the D line?" We are. I know you want Bear though. I do too. We all do. Even if it's well, he can't do a 1-year rental now because he already hit the portal one time. Bear Alexander about to do 5 teams in 5 years. Is that what we're on? That's mercenary behavior right there, baby. That's what time we on. Bag season. Bag season. You rock too, Paige. Hook 'em. I have, so that's one thing I haven't been able to do is check out some of the other games to kind of compare, which I will be doing here this week. Also, the draft stuff that we're going to have going on with the Lando show. We're going to be breaking down all of our NFL draft guys from guys that we know are going to go in the first round, like Bijan, which we're excited about because we haven't had a damn first round pick in like 7 years, to guys who are going to be on the bubble, like Deshaun Jameson or Anthony Cook. So we're going to be breaking down like everybody that's draft eligible. So stay on the lookout for that. But in terms, I have heard good things. So let me ask y'all this. Have y'all had any of your friends that are not Texas fans, guys and gals out there watching right now? Have y'all had any of your friends hit you up that saw our spring game and said, "Wow, I'm impressed. Texas looks." I had some people I trust, not trolls or anything like that, but people that I know are not Texas fans, people that are objective, that know ball, that say, "Hey, Texas look good. I like what I saw. I like y'all got some players. Y'all look bigger." Somebody was asking why we haven't talked. Somebody in the comments here, why we haven't talked about the strength and conditioning, and how guys' bodies look. Look, it's no secret here, Bubba. We physically look different. But I have people that are SEC fans, people that are, I grew up more so in ACC country, but folks over there that were like, "Yo, y'all look fast. Y'all look faster. You got some big boys. Who's 99? Who's 90? They look like they were in there throwing some people around." It's encouraging. Those are the people I kind of pay attention to because I know we can get caught up in drinking our own Kool-Aid. I know how we are. And those of us who are Texas fans that talk to each other every day, sometimes we can get isolated in our own bubble, and we're not really paying attention to what, and then we get surprised when other people have scaled a little bit better than we have. I get that. Did we get Marlon's explanation? I want to see. Okay, we did get Marlon's explanation. So let me get to this. I know I'm moving slow with the chat. All right, he said offense was could have been vanilla play calling. Running backs concerned me a lot. Quinn looked in better shape, but I thought the offense would be more machine-like. Um, I mean, outside of the first drive where they just didn't, I mean, we had like a little bit of a misfire, I think on the third throw or one of them, and then one of them was just like a drop by Jatavian. But those are things that I think we're more than fine. Um, I think Marlon though is a balance because if the offense looks machine like, then you're going to be mad. You're going to be telling me the defense is mid, zero sum game. If we were out here, if we had gone and done the Shane Buechele spring game that we talked about in our preview, if we look like the Shane Buechele spring game where we hit like 5 or 6 deep shots, 40+ yard passes, and it looked like a damn light show out there, we would have been like, what's wrong with our secondary? What's wrong with our DBs? So, you know, it's tough. Sarko's giving out fake first downs. You cannot deny that. He was doing that, though. He wants to see a certain amount of plays and whatnot. They don't do that as much in practice and behind the scenes, but when they are working to get enough reps in for kids and whatnot, and they want to see a certain scenario or they want to see a certain response, then they'll do that. I've also seen spring games where somebody will get a first down, but they'll move it because they want to see a short yardage play as well, right? And so coaches can manipulate that. I have no problem with that in spring game. Just like I had no problem with my guy Jaden Blue, who had probably the run of the day. Absolutely had the run of the day, right? And was just phenomenal in getting into the end zone and did show that burst. But the reverse pass with Xavier Worthy, please, people, I don't want anybody laying out for that football in a damn spring game. Stop it. As Sark said correctly later in his interview, that was a damn hospital pass. So if BJ Allen is coming, the brother almost got his head blown off. No, I'm not laying out for that, coach. I'm gonna step right here and let that thing go out of bounds. It is not that serious. You talk about, oh, we need to compete every single play, 100%. Miss me with that. Miss me with that. Jaden Blue, you did the right thing. Don't get your head taken off for no reason in a damn spring game. If this was a real game or whatnot, yeah, bro, Bubba, you got to make the catch, stay in bounds, all of that. But if this is a real game, you also don't want to see passes like that thrown where you got a safety coming with a beeline ready to take somebody's head off. If you remember, Game Speed, aka Blackwell, took off Xavier Worthy's head last year. That was until this day. That's the hardest I've ever seen Worthy get hit. One thing you can say about Worthy, nobody really ever gets to square up on him. He does a great job as a receiver protecting himself at all times. When you're running around this, especially guys, I don't know how big Blue is. Is Blue, what's Blue's weight? Somebody in the comments tell me what Jaden Blue's weight is. But guys like Worthy, guys like Jonte Cook that are under 200 pounds, part of your job to me as a receiver, a good receiver, is understanding to protect yourself, or else your ass ain't gonna get through the season taking shots and trying to be a hero. You have to know when to get down or when to say, hey, I'm not gonna get my head blown off. No. Okay? Or when to get out of bounds. But certain guys that are not that big, that's a skill set within itself. Now, the bigger guys, the bigger receivers, I get that. That's where the tight ends got to take some shots because their bodies can handle it a little bit better. But the brothers out there that are running around at 180 and whatnot, like if you see the brother that's on the Seattle Seahawks this past year, Tyler Lockett, every single time he caught a ball this year over the middle of the NFL, what did he do? He got his ass down. He got what he could, got down. No. preservation matters. So I'm not going. Jay and Blue had a good day for me. He showed good ball security. I know that's been a challenge. I saw what I needed to see from him. It's encouraging, and it's important because there's a lot of competition in that room. Jonathan Brooks and Keelan Robinson are coming back, and all those guys are competing for touches. A lot of people. Kai Woods is being mentioned. Kai Woods is a damn walk on, and look how Kai Woods looks like he can play at this level. Only negative I saw from him was the ball that Arch threw. I thought that was actually one of Arch's better plays, where he did throw back across and hit Kai Woods in the chest, and he dropped it. But other than that, I liked how he ran, and he was running in between the tackles. And that's our walk. Like, that's a good thing too, because that's what our defense is seeing in terms of prep, right? Where we don't have to beat up some of the first team guys in practice and let them get beat on or whatever. If they're seeing that in practice, you know how rare that is to see from a young guy. Keep that in mind. Second best guy we've seen in 5 years. Overkind money. I don't know what's up with the Jaden Alexa situation. I do think. Can we just be real though for a second? If he wants to play like sooner rather than later, it's probably in his best interest to hit the portal with considering the people in the room. Like, let's just be real, especially in Nayer's coming back. Um, you still have like Ryan Niblett coming in too, right? And so uh, and it's not has nothing to do with Jaden Alexis. I think he's going to be a fine player. Casey Kane didn't play either. Um, I think from a standpoint of the amount of bodies in the room, that could have been a situation. I have no idea where the coaches are just like, hey, we'll let you get out there and showcase yourself. Some of these guys are, we know for our staff, us trying to fill another spot or get something else in here at another position, we're also like, hey, we kind of need that spot. So it's kind of mutually beneficial. Hey, you get to kind of showcase whatever you need to showcase, and you get to go and find a new home, and we get to get that scholarship back to go and pursue this guy we need over here at another spot. So it's nothing against Jaden Alexis. It just happens in ball sometimes where this is as deep a receiver room as we've had. If this was last year, hell no, we want him to stay. But this year, with the amount of depth we have, it is what it is. Marlon Kane went down on Thursday in practice. That's what happened. He got injured in the Thursday practice. So it looks like probably a 4 to 6 week window for him to recover from that, assuming it's not more fractured than what it is from what I've heard. DeAndre Moore is going to be fine. I agree with that. He definitely was getting open, and it's an adjustment for him as a freshman. Contact wise, the coverage again. So this is a guy I haven't even mentioned yet. I like what I saw from Malik Muhammad. I thought Malik Muhammad looked a little bit better than Terrence Brooks did. And I think Terrence Brooks is going to have a better season this year and continue to show improvement. I thought Malik Muhammad looked confident. Yes, he gave up some in breaking routes to Worthy at times. It is what it is. It's Xavier Worthy. You're going to give up some things. But I like the swagger, what he played with. I liked his technique. Looked very, very confident what he was trying to do. And honestly, Malik Muhammad looked like, size-wise, he looked like a D1 corner right now. So I was impressed with that. Can't lose inexplicably a Tech or Oklahoma State type game. Well, the good thing is we don't play Oklahoma State this year. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. You can take that however you want to. But I agree with you on the Techs. That's where Sark's ultimately going to be graded for me, because I'm seeing everything I asked about the roster and roster management and strength and conditioning and just what my football team looks like, development, I'm seeing it. But the wins need to like the wins have to come behind that. And winning is I'm not gonna say winning is hard like Tom Herman, but winning is one of those things where we get into a game and it has nothing to do with any of those things. It's just like tactically, can we make a small tweak to get out of here? Can we make a small tweak mentally to say, all right, this is what this person's doing. They turn, all right, boom, let's get out of here and win ugly sometimes. Georgia had to win ugly. Everybody grades Georgia on the last time they saw Georgia, but the game before against Ohio State, they needed luck, Jesus, everything under the sun to get out of that Ohio State game because CJ Stroud was on their ass even after he lost Marvin Harrison Jr. in that game and playing without Travion Henderson. Like the same Georgia that went and blew TCU off the face of the planet. I don't know, if I've ever seen anybody get their ass whooped to that degree on any stage in life the way TCU did. Thoughts and prayers to that program. They had an outstanding year last year getting to that. I would love to get to that stage. But they were blown out with the vicious, might of 10,000 dragons in the national championship game. That was the same Georgia team that was needed everything under the sun to beat Ohio State. That was the same Georgia team that was sweating against Kentucky. That was the same Georgia team that was needing all these things to happen against Missouri. But the point is they always figured it out. Kirby always figured it out. They just won. They just won. That's why I trust Brian Kelly at LSU, because if you look at Brian Kelly's record as a coach, whether he's at Cincinnati, whether he's at Notre Dame, during the course of a season, they just win. They just figure it out. Even when LSU didn't play, like LSU lost that first game against Florida State, and then like real rap, like they still just figured out the rest of the way, regardless of injuries and all these other things happening and sex scandals and all these things, crazy things going on. They just win the game every week. So that's where Texas, that's what Sark has to show to me. That's what Sark has to prove, is that everything sounds good. Everything's starting to look good. We see in the ingredients, Texas fans, we like what we saw yesterday, I think, for the most of us. Now, hey, I respect where Marlon's coming from. Marlon made some good points and things, right? But, even those of us who have questions are a little bit more skeptical. We're encouraged by what we're seeing on the roster. But that final phase is whether we play well or we don't play well. Did we win the game? Yes. Check. Right? And that's where we have to get to. We've seen this team be prepared to go on streaks to win games, and then they get hot, and then they start reading the press clippings, and they start hearing, we win, we had times, shit, after the Oklahoma game this year, we win 49-0, Quinn's back, and people immediately started talking about playoffs. So even with our own expectation during the course of a season, we can't skip steps. Like my man Chris Simpkins says on this channel all the time, we can't skip steps with development. Well, as fans, we beat Oklahoma 49-0. We're feeling good, absolutely. But people started talking about playoffs. Like we skip past the rest of the Big 12 roster, the rest of the Big 12 schedule. We skip past the Big 12 championship game. People are like, are we one of the 4 best teams in the country? How about we do it again next week after everybody gave them credit? Because I see Texas sometimes lose focus when they have success. Those are things that we can't measure until the season starts. But in terms of what we look to see in the spring, rosters, how many questions do we have versus how many things we feel good about, this is as good as we can possibly feel, in my opinion. Are y'all with me? This is as good as we possibly can feel. People, Marlon, you saw it? They were feeling themselves after that game last year. It got really nasty mentally. And that's on the staff too, to police that. To like Kirby Smart, one thing I got to give him credit about, He spread propaganda all across his locker room saying that people were hating on Georgia and saying they are 7-5 and all this type of stuff. And that couldn't have been further from the truth. So that coach went in there and spread propaganda and told the kids that people hating on them. So they go out there with a chip on their shoulder. But when we win, we over here talking about, yo, Quinn might be a Heisman candidate. Yo, this. We're gonna have 6 first-round picks. Instead of like, yo, next week we need to go whoop somebody's ass because they were talking shit. That needs to be the mindset every single week because they have the ingredients there to do whatever they want to do. That's where I'm at. And I don't know if I don't think that's Kool-Aid. I don't think that's Kool-Aid. The ingredients are there to do whatever they want to do. I mean, how many questions do you legit see with the roster? With the roster. I'm not saying we got the best roster. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying how many questions, how many things you're like, you know what? We need to hit the portal right now because we don't have this or we don't have that. Tell me in the comments, how many questions do you have in regards to the roster? Because when it comes to the mental capability of keeping the team focused and locked in and being adults week over week, we can't grade that and we can't grade Sark on that until the season starts. I'm gonna keep rapping with y'all until the Laker game starts. How about that? So I want to go watch game 1 of Lakers Grizzlies. The best thing too for Anthony Hill, real quick, is the development of David Benda playing right alongside him, so where we can use him in a fun manner, right, in a situational manner. Young guys that come along, especially like that are super talented. I want us to be a program where we can use them in capacity that helps enhance us, but we're not needing and leaning on them to be everything for us to be a savior. We've had a savior complex in this program, and I think we're getting to the point of establishing enough depth to where we're not looking for Anthony Hill to come and save us at linebacker. We're looking at Anthony Hill to come and bolster our group and send us over the top. That's 2 different things. And I'm seeing that from the group. Baron Sorrell wants double-digit sacks. Hell yeah, I'm for it. I would love to see it. This is interesting. And I agree to this to some degree because with it was rocky and some of the things you heard out of his own high school were concerning. However, I give Blue credit for staying the course thus far. And quite frankly, getting better. The way he ran yesterday was better than how I saw him run at any point. Very, very small sample size, by the way. The way Jaden Blue ran yesterday was better than anything I saw the way he ran at any point of last season, in my opinion. So we're making strides. Now consistency has to come. Now he has to, make sure because one thing we had with Bijan and Roshan was ball security, was pass protection, understanding the assignments of we can't just grade backs on how they look running the football. It's the little stuff. We had some challenges at some times. I think more so with Casey Thompson with assignments with our run block, with our pass pro, with our backs, where we got some hits on the quarterback, even Hudson Card at times, that they should have been cleaned up. So it's consistency across the board for the coaches to trust you to be on the field. The other thing I will say is this: I saw some comments from the previous video asking about or saying that because Malik was the best looking quarterback, which I do agree with. I think Malik had the best day, clearly the most exciting day of any of the quarterbacks that played yesterday. 100%, I agree with that. But I think sometimes we go a little overboard because we saw one of the 15 practices and one of the 3 or 4 scrimmages that this person should automatically be above this person. Either you trust the staff or not, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, either you trust the staff or not. And I look, Chris talked about this on the preview. Are you team Texas or are you team whatever pick you're in love with and you're just going to ignore all the other stuff that that person they're competing against did, or and you're only going to gas up what this person did? And I'm not just saying this exclusively in the league. This is again the thing across the aspect. We have people we have our pet cats and guys we push and we want to see out there cook. No doubt about it. I know I got mine. But that's not going to restrict me from giving credit where credit is due. I liked what Quinn Ewers did yesterday. And I knew this was going to happen. He's going to have a pretty, and he actually had a couple, good, okay, eye-opening throws where it's like, okay, there's the arm talent. But I knew, okay, if he makes good decisions and it's kind of ho-hum, but he's moving the ball down the field and we look like he looks how he should look, but somebody else comes in and makes, some oh my God throws, we're going to, this narrative starts to get pushed. So I think we have to be careful there. And the other thing is we need two quarterbacks at all times in 2023 college football. We didn't have Quinn last year for a month. So those who are trying to push Malik to the portal, because there's different camps, those of you who are trying to push Malik to the portal and say, well, he's never going to play because once Arch gets up to speed, then he's not going to have opportunity to get on the field, blah, blah, blah. Anything can happen during the season. You need two quarterbacks at all times. At all times. So please stop pushing that. There's going to be some point in the season where we're going to need Malik Murphy to play and be ready to play. And damn it, the fact that he looks like this and we can feel confident that he gets into a game, live bullets, I need that. I don't want to be in a situation where we pushing people out the room or out the door. And also for Malik's sake, I think I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Sark's system is a monster, but it is a monster that is worth it if you learn it. This is AP level stuff for quarterbacks. And whether or not Malik ever, I hope I get to see Malik suit up as just me personally, because I love the kid and I wanted to see him suit up as the starting quarterback of Texas. That's me personally. With that being said, if it doesn't happen, does what not? If he goes somewhere else, he's going to be more prepared to be that guy at any level because of being in this room, in this system, with this development. This is AP level stuff that's happening in that room. So with Malik's development, also it would make him more premier free agent if he ever does hit the portal than if he just goes right now. The longer he stays in this room, the longer he develops. Look what they've done in 1 year with his throwing motion. In 1 year. And he's accurate. He's throwing, he's take off speed stuff. Takes a little bit off. He knows, hey, let me walk it to him with my backs. Let me add some heat between the backer and the safety. He's already gotten to the point just in 1 year of development of switching it up. So please keep in mind that in college football in general, you cannot just push people out the door because you're hopeful about this other person. You want to fast track this other guy in here. These are brothers we want to stay. So just know that. Blackwell does play angry. That's why I call him game speed. Yeah, this is about Jaden Alexis. Totally agree. Right thing to do, especially if you've done it the right way. And again, mutually beneficial situation. I noticed this too. Good comment. I thought, and this is the most underrated aspect about Jatavian Sanders, is his blocking. I actually thought it was more of Jatavian getting to that block and kind of getting him turn, Ethan Burke that was, to establish that lane than it was Ethan Burke, not again, zero sum. Either we're going to blame the offense if the defense makes the play, or if they don't make the play, But instead, we need to look at, okay, what happened on this play? Was this a absence of technique? Was this a lack of execution? Or did somebody come around there that we are all gassing up as one of the best tight ends in the country that went and did what he does? Right? What was it? Because Ethan Burke, yes, he could, yes, he was right there. Jatavian gets him up out of there. So how do you grade the rep? If you're a Texas fan, which would you prefer? Would you prefer to see Ethan Burke throw Jatavian into the lane and make Blue have to bounce and then he gets tackled for loss? Or did you want to see Jatavian defeat Burke and now Jaden Blue can get to the second level and be special? What would you prefer as a Texas fan to see? That's why spring games and scrimmages are so difficult. And that happens with everybody, right? So I said earlier, if the offense looks too good, then we're going to question PK. If the defense looks too dominant, then we're going to question the quarterbacks. And why are we completing passes? Why aren't we moving the ball? I think we had the right balance yesterday. I think that's what's exciting. Paxton said he wanted Ethan Burke to defeat Sanders. That's what he wanted to see. Is that what you wanted to see? You wanted to see Ethan Burke defeat Sanders on that play? I thought Jatavian made the play, but I could be wrong. We're gonna go for another 15 minutes until that Laker game comes on. I appreciate everybody being here in the chat. Please hit that like button, subscribe. I saw my brother Ty in here from Around the Table Sports. And before I get to this super chat here that I'm going to address, make sure you guys subscribe to our new second channel, the SEC Connect. It's myself, Jay from Unfair Sports, Ty from Around the Table, Nino from Nino's Corner, and Chris with the K from You Know Where. We are all a collective, collaborative group. We do a lot of lives every Wednesday, so go over there, support that platform we're growing as we all start to integrate eventually into the SEC. We are starting up that coverage now and scouting those teams and doing weekly content. Right now, we are in spring ball season, so we will be reacting as we do our homework on everything that's happening around the board. So please go over there and subscribe. The SEC Connect on YouTube and on Twitter. Go subscribe, follow everything. The SEC Connect. What's up, Forrest? You're not too late, brother. Marlon, you're right. We were reading press clippings last year. We got to protect against that this year and filter the noise. Again, they did a good job of filtering the noise with Arch. Arch is going to get a lot of arrows he doesn't deserve from idiots in the media. People that he was the #1 overall high school player and he looked mid as hell yesterday. Don't even just either troll that stuff or don't even respond to it, because that's not even a realistic way to look at college football. But that's also going to, unfortunately, in a good way, going to deflect a lot of attention from other guys, right, to keep things quiet. But the noise around the program and protecting against that when things are good. I worry about this team just as much when we're playing somebody tough and we're coming off of a lackadaisical week, or we're coming off a tough practice, whatever, just as much as when they actually do have success like OU, where they look good, they look unbelievable. And then the next week it's like, oh, y'all been feeling yourselves. They over here with their feet up like Thanos talking about the work is done. And it's October. That's that bullshit that needs to stop in this program, in my opinion. The work isn't done until you get to the championship game. Let's see here. Oh yeah, let me address the super chats. I'm sorry. Thank you guys for donating and supporting the channel. By the way, I really appreciate it. And Nick V, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go over. I'm a little nervous about all the players that are missing and have missed time, but I could be overreacting. I just see it all season. Which players? Um, which players are you talking about, Nick V? Just so I'm clear, and maybe I missed it before, but what players are you talking about? And thank you for the super chat, brother, and also the comments on the previous video. I know we've been going back and forth on some of the threads on the preview video that I did with Vashawn and Chris, and people were saying some stuff. So I appreciate you coming in there. And absolutely not, I'm not a Lakers fan, Paxton. I'm a Spurs fan. But I do want to see Braun and against the Grizzlies. It's just a series I really want to pay attention to. I'm a big NBA guy, so um, all right. Let me get to the next one. Stay woke said Malik will be a vital piece next year, even without him starting. 2 is 1, 1 is done, 1 is none. Oh, I agree. I agree. And thank you for the super chat as well, brother. I appreciate it. Brother or sister out there. But absolutely, that backup quarterback. And I know Nino did a video about the importance of the backup, of Malik Murphy in particular. But that was a question we had, right? Who's going to seize that job and have command? And I think that question was answered emphatically. All right, I'm almost there to keep up where y'all are at. Let's see, Gregory Campbell, thank you for the super chat donation. Malik is QB eye candy. He needs serious consideration to start next year based on talent alone. Yours hasn't done enough to completely close that combo. Appreciate your thoughts. I would say um, you invested a lot of time and experience and snaps and reps into Quinn Ewers last year. And I see eye candy stuff from Quinn as well. And with the experience and some of the things I've heard, again, I trust the staff. I trust the people that, provide whatever intel that they provide us of how these guys have looked. And it sounds like over the 15 practices, we only got to see one publicly. Quinn looked like he was, we also have to remember Malik started camp and was still not even practicing. He didn't really come back until second week, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and yeah, he's improved. He's ramped 100%. The talent is there. He might have a higher ceiling than Quinn Ewers. I think you're allowed to say that 100%. But right now, in terms of what we need for 2023 and where guys are at, we got to roll with Quinn, and Malik continues to develop, right, and be ready when called upon if injury presents itself or anything happens. But right now, I'm very, very comfortable with where that room is at as a whole, and I like where we're at offensively, quite frankly. All right. Yeah, that's the thing. We as fans, because we only get to see one scrimmage in its totality, we are going to we can only make conclusions off what we see. However, hey, take care. Take care, Cole. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. We only get to make conclusions off what we see. Off what we see. But sorry, I did get that beverage in there. I've been talking too fast. The coaches are there every practice. Coaches are there day after day, evaluating guys, seeing who is consistent, rep over rep, practice over practice, scrimmage over scrimmage. We got to factor those things in, right? And so I think what we saw was multiple guys having peak performance, right? So definitely something to take advantage or to take note of, not advantage of, note of. Yeah, I think you could say that. Yes, Quinn was the number one player in the country, but we know that those are projections that are done at the time they leave high school. And it is noted that Malik was damn near almost a 5 star without ever playing a freaking high school game because of his upside and because of the crazy arm talent that he has. So it is fair to say that if you want to go that route, I still think Quinn Ewers has first overall pick type talent. Okay. So let's not get this confused. However, that's how crazy this room is. Arch was a number one overall player in his class. Malik's upside at his size and with his ability, um, I mean, just consider how quickly he's changed his throwing motion and the accuracy and the off speed stuff. I agree. I agree, man. It's a great problem to have. Great problem to have. So I'm not declaring anything one or the other. I'm just saying that's I think I even said before, this is probably the only time in Quinn's life will he'll ever be in a room with somebody who has a stronger arm than him. I don't know if he'll ever face that in the NFL. I mean, these guys have serious ability, but we got to see that consistency play out throughout the season. Nick V with another super chat. Appreciate it. Brooks, Robinson, Campbell, Hudson, Gilbo, and Nair. What was this? Oh, you're talking about the people missing. Okay, got you. Well, we knew Hudson was missing from he got injured going back to last season. And Jalen Gilbo's been Gilbo too, Nair too. So I'm not concerned about any of those guys. Jonathan Brooks had been practicing on and off. And I do think that if, in a game situation, Jonathan Brooks would be ready to go, but there was really no reason to play him. Campbell had the wrist injury, and I think he's going to have surgery. But even with that surgery happening, he should be back. Uh, I think I think the recovery on that 6 to 8 weeks. So that still puts him to be pretty much good to go for fall camp and not have any issues competing. So I hear what you're saying in terms of the guys that are out, but if you really think about it, bro, Nick, last year we couldn't even have a real spring game because we didn't even have enough healthy offensive linemen. Look at the difference now. Look at the difference just year over year. We're way healthier than we've been in recent years, in my opinion. Like that's it, really. I mean, Casey Kane too. We got to include Casey Kane in this, who has the shoulder issue. But we're much healthier and in a much better spot depth wise than we've been in a long time. A lot of these people that you're naming have been injured these are long term injuries that they've had going back to last year. So folks like DJ Campbell and again Jonathan Brooks, who's going to be it's more precautionary. No, no, I don't think you should be concerned there. Even with Keelan Robinson, I don't think there should be. Those are guys that are going to be ready to go come the beginning of the season. Let's see who's out of pocket. Am I missing something? I was rapping about something else. Who's out of pocket? What happened? Oh, I missed it. When Malik threw the TD, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, David. Y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop. You brothers are trying to stir up controversy. Arch, I thought the plan. I was told. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I was told the plan was for Arch to come into a good situation and develop properly in red shirt and take his time. That's what I was told. So that's what Malik's been able to do, right? And get ramped to some degree. Quinn, because he actually, now he sat in somebody else's quarterback room for a year. But I mean, how many years have we complained at Texas that we rush people too much? Are they coming here? We ask them to be saviors. Shit, we asked Sam Ellinger to play and be the guy his freshman year. after Bouchel got hurt, and it was Sam. We never there was no development period. We had that boy out there running QB power till the son came home against USC. It is like his third week in college. That's what he used to be on at Texas. So I feel like we should feel good that we could people could come in here and actually sit in the room for a little bit and really learn the offense before we bash their head in 50 times. I feel like we're making progress, guys. What say you? Don C, what's up, man? Can't wait to I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. It is good to be back. It's good to come on and chop it up with everybody and just talk ball and talk about the sport we love. So I appreciate it. Thank you. With the excess talent at receiver and running back, I wonder if it impacts Coach Sarkisian's philosophy of playing minimal players. This is a good point. This is a good point because Sark doesn't like doing the musical chairs like we saw with the previous regime. Where it's your turn, my turn. Because that was something where, if you remember Bijan's freshman year, a lot of people were getting upset. Bijan wasn't getting enough touches, enough carries, enough work because we were rotating so many people. We were doing musical chair receivers, blah, blah, blah. And now, since the Worthy era, we roll with our guys. We target our guys. Bijan or Roshan, they got majority of the bulk of the work. There were times where it's like, oh, where's so and so? Where's this person? I do think that is a balance they're going to have. That's also with expectation setting of kids coming in and having to re-recruit your kids while they're in your building. You don't just stop recruiting people when they sign their letter of intent to come play for your school. You have to keep recruiting them day in, day out and reassuring them and making sure that they understand when they're ready to called upon. They understand what their role is going to be. It's very clearly defined, and when they're ready to play if somebody gets hurt. But I do think to me, you can't keep Jonte Cook off the field. To me. I don't think that's a guy you can keep off the field. I think it's going to be really, really hard to keep Cedric Baxter off the field. There's certain people that they're just going to be in there. Isaiah Nayer, if he looks like anything like he looks last year, it's going to be really hard to keep him off the field. It's a lot of people, right? So, yeah, I think they're going to have to be a little fluid with kind of having the NBA playoff mentality of the short rotations or the short bench. But you don't want to go overboard with it either. And Nick V, thank you again for the super chats. Guys, I'm about to log off. And thank you to our sponsors. Shout out to Last Stand Hats, laststandhats.com/fanatic. Best in the business apparel wise, best hats in the game. We love to see it. So many people out there showing off their Last Stand hats, merch at Texas baseball games, softball games, spring game yesterday. Great environment. So support laststandhats.com/fanatic. Promo code Fanatic10 gets you 10% off at checkout. Love the gang. Those of you in the bracket contest, merch is coming. And then our brand new sponsors, aura.com/fanatic. You'll see it come across there. Hit up aura.com/fanatic today. Best all-in-one digital security services in the game right now. Sponsors of the Minnesota Timberwolves. We are offering a 14-day free trial. Help support the channel, help support you guys out there that are looking to address all of your digital security concerns and needs. You're looking to get, your credit cleaned up, secure your home, VPN services, so many cool features and insurance, 24/7 white glove. It's all there. Aura.com/fanatic. The QR code on the screen gets you right there where you need to be. Take 14-day free trial. If you don't see the value in it, boom, cancel it, move on. No sweat. If you do, you're looking at packages as low as $10 a month moving forward. So Guys, appreciate y'all so very much. It's so good to be back here, just doing lives and talking ball. And we inch closer and closer to summer camp and getting after it. So appreciate y'all. Remember, horns always up. Hook 'em.